How y'all doing? And it is Talk About It Tuesday. How y'all doing? It's been a rough day for me. It's hard, but it's fair. I have to accept my Father in heaven's decision and understand that it might not look favorable to some people, but it's His will. And they're going to have to accept it, and I have to accept it. But it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop my faith. And it's not going to stop my praying and my interceding. And this is my belly. It's mine. I know I said yesterday that was the first day of acceptance. This is the second day. It is what it is. It's my belly. And it didn't come here yesterday. And today is not going to leave yesterday or today. So I accept it for what it is, and I'm just going to keep trying. Keep going. Keep staying motivated until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and disappears. But I was watching a video I saw about a week ago, and I think the lady was of Indian or Pakistani descent. She was a doctor, and she was talking about weight, obesity, and how trying to lose weight and not being effective at doing it is because you have to go back to the root cause. And I don't know if she said the majority of all of it is from traumatic experiences as a child. And that until you go back and rescue that child that's waiting, that's stuck, that's waiting for somebody to come and help them, it's not going to work. And I could see the logic in that. And I want to tell y'all a story. I've been struggling with my weight since after I had my first child. Before then, I never really had a problem, like not a serious problem. Yeah, yes, I did. I wanted to be skinny like my friends. And at 5'8", weighing 35 pounds and wearing a size 10, I was at the perfect weight. But people made it seem like I was too big. I was a big girl. I was a tall girl. I was too big for them. That's self-esteem to say that. Meanwhile, while back at the ranch, I want to tell you a story of a traumatic experience that I wasn't even aware of until recently. I think I touched on this story a little bit in one of my other bike rides. I don't know. But when I was a little girl, I grew up between two boys on the Air Force base. My brother was 4, I was 3, and my little brother was 2. I don't understand how we had so much range as little kids. Like, all you needed was your dad's ID, and you basically had keys to the Air Force base. You could go anywhere. A lot of the stuff, when I went to New Jersey, I did vlog that, but I think it's private when I went back to the Air Force base in New Jersey 2 years ago. And they've since put like the base, they have like new housing for the base, and the old base is like civilian, like it's outside of the base now, if that makes more sense. But before, it used to be on the base. And when you walk from like the base houses to the actual base, that was all combined. I mean, it was all in there. Like the 7-Eleven, the movie theater. I showed y'all the movie theater. It looks so small. Where, okay, I'm just going to just tell you so you can get the gist of what I'm saying. All you Generation X people will know what I'm talking about. We went to see the Planet of the Apes. I don't know which Planet of the Apes it was, but it was the one where New York looked like it had been hit with like a major catastrophe, like the people that were behind everything, like they were all burnt and in charge of everything. And the apes that took over the planet. I don't know when that movie came out, but I saw it when it first came out. And then another movie, I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was this, it's a famous actress. I think her name is Mia or Fia something. It's the lady who played in Rosemary's Baby. And she was blind. And she had got some kind of way in this serial killer's house. I'm serious. And the way that she got away from him, she hid in the bathtub, I don't know, or something. It was just a weird movie. I saw that. And I shouldn't be able to, I couldn't have been no more than 4, 3, 4, 5. Y'all, I'm going to research it after I get off of this. But anyway, we would be on base. We would get like, I remember getting buckets of tadpoles and buckets of, I don't know what caterpillar this is, but it was furry. And I think it was like a copper brown with black on each end. It was a fuzzy, furry caterpillar. And we just would have buckets of it. And my mom would come like on the back steps before you go in the house, the little, I guess, I don't know. Y'all can look at I'll put the video up of the houses in the house. They look like projects, but it was base housing. And we would forget about them and they would starve to death. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to laugh. We would forget about them and scare the heck out of my mom because she would just come and see buckets of like dead little insects and stuff like that. So I've always been fascinated with worms, caterpillars, insects, bugs. I just have. I grew up between two boys. They would torture them, but I would try to keep them and raise them. Anyway, long story short, I remember it was raining. It was like raining the whole weekend. And I remember I had to get up and go to school the next day. And they shared a room. I want to tell y'all about their G.I. Joes. And somebody, every time they would take my Barbie dolls and torture them, and I would steal their G.I. Joes and marry them to my Barbies. I'm going to stick that picture up there too. But I used to be in love with G.I. Joe when I was a kid. But they would tear my dolls up, but I never tore their action figures up. I would just make a dollhouse with the mom and the dad and the baby with their toys. Anywho, I woke up one morning in a nightmare. I stepped out of my bed and I stepped into worms. My whole bedroom, I had a canopy bed. It was pink and white with that white, like, I don't know. That everybody had that bed set in the 60s. It's like a princess. It's white with like gold tones. on the edges. And I stepped out of the bed and it was just worms everywhere up to my knees. Like I couldn't walk. It was just worms everywhere. And I screamed. I screamed and I screamed. And I remember just going black. And I woke up and my mom and my dad, I was like in a cold sweat. And my mom and my dad, I just never will forget their expressions. Like I knew something happened, but at that time I didn't know what fainting meant. I just know that last thing I saw was worms and I was screaming and I don't remember anything else. Just being terrified. And every day after that, my dad had to physically, after it rained, my dad would have to physically carry me to the school bus. And the teachers would have to physically carry me to the school bus when school was out, or I screamed. If I saw a worm, I stepped on a worm, I started screaming and pass out. And that was trauma, I guess. But I didn't know at that time how the worm trauma came up until a couple of years ago, before my grandma passed, my mother dear. And we were talking, shooting and laughing about old days. And it just popped up in my head because my grandma's house was in Mississippi. And I remember all the houses on the block had a ditch in front of them and used to have to walk over like this wooden, like little bridge. And I remember always looking over the edge. And I just, you know how you just see little bits and pieces of where you grew up. I remember at night she had chickens. And we were facing the backyard, and when you would look out the window, all you would see was eyes, and there was the reflection of the chickens. They would get up in the trees at night, and that was so scary and creepy as a kid to see that. I remember that. I remember the stove. I remember how my mom would have parties and I would steal my brother's bottle, make him scream and move his bed across the floor because he would be mad, going back and forth to the bed and hit the door. And I asked my grandma, so confusing you, but I was at my grandma's house and we were talking and I said, Mother dear, I said, did I ever fall into that ditch and some worms? And I was covered with worms. And she stopped what she was doing. And you know how when you say something to somebody and it like gives them pause, like they jerk? And she looked at me like she had seen a ghost. And she said, how do you remember that? And I was like, I don't know. It just popped in my head. And she said, you were so little. I don't know how you remember that. She said, but I saved you. You fell in the ditch. And I had to crawl in there and get you out of the worms. Yeah. I don't know how I overcame the worms, but I remember my brother, my grandma used to come to my house. She'd put those electrodes in the ground and make worms come out of the ground, and she put them in our refrigerator. And I remember when I was flat chested, but not flat chested. And my brother was like making fun of me. It was these tank tops that we used to wear that were popular in the late 70s. And he took a handful of worms and he threw them in my shirt. Passed out again. My brother, my little brother, and my big brother tortured me. But somehow, over the years, my grandma would say, if you don't bait the hook, I can't keep baiting the hook for you. You got to learn. You got to get over this. You got to get over this. You like fishing, but she would bait the hook for me. But my hands would start shaking every time I tried to put the worm on the hook. And I can't even tell you about that movie Squirm. I actually went and saw that movie Squirm and ran out of the... I saw two movies that scared me. The movie Squirm with the worms, the shower scene, I ran out of the movie screaming. At the Riverside movie theater. The other movie I ran out on was Wolfen. When that man said, let me give you a piece of my mind, and pulled that bullet out of his head and turned into a wolf, I ran out of the movie theater screaming. I don't know why I go see scary movies, but those two movies scared me, and that worm movie. But eventually, like I said, my grandma said, you got to bait the hook. So I knew if I wanted to go fish with my grandma, I had to bait the hook. And I was like, can I use the mealworms instead? Because she would have night crawlers and mealworms. And the mealworms I wasn't afraid of because they weren't squirmy and squishy. They were like caterpillars. And she said, why can't you give you all my mealworms? You got to use the what did she call them? The night crawlers or something. They were big worms. And it's just like, I used to always think they were going to get in my skin. Have you ever seen a worm go in the dirt? then just stay there for a minute. Now, if it can go in dirt, my logic is it can go in your skin just like it's going in that dirt. But I digress. I finally got over my fear of worms and I went fishing. Then I would go fishing by myself. Then one of my friends took me fishing. And I was always the good luck charm because I could catch them, but I couldn't reel them in. But I love fishing. I haven't been fishing in a long time. But that was some deep-seated trauma. Other things happened to me as I got older to add on to that trauma. And it just brings me back that when you bury stuff, when you bury bad stuff that happens to you as a kid, and your mind, I think your mind shuts down. Some people say it splits depending on the magnitude of the trauma, or it fragments, or it's like buried in your psyche till you're strong enough, or your brain feels like you're strong enough for your body to handle your reaction. It'll bubble up, and mine bubbled up in my 50s. I mean, I didn't think about it anymore, and it just happened. And my grandma's not here no more, but I often think, how did I get in there? And you didn't say, helped me get out. You said, I saved you. As in, I must have been under the water with the worms. I don't know. All I know is I survived, and I love my mother dear. But I never knew that she saved me, probably from death. And nobody ever told me. Not even when I was screaming about the worms in my bedroom. Life, man. But I'm trying to heal and forgive for other bad things that happened to me as a child and a teenager and a young adult. and things that centered around weight gain and trying to protect yourself, thinking that if you do gain weight that it will protect you from things from happening. I'm gonna let you I'm gonna just leave that one right there. And how people perceive you by body type, from being skinny, pleasantly plump, short, tall, um, top heavy, bottom heavy. We all seem to have this, what do they call it? A prototype of the perfect body and what's perfect and what's attractive. And I think the United States and Europe are two of the main, two of the main culprits that make it seem like to be skinny is to be sexy or to be perfect. And we succumb to it and we try so hard to fit into these molds of what the perfect body form is. But I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And with me, I done dated heavy set men, skinny men, muscular men. And it's the person. It's the person and the personality. It's just, I don't know. People like, do you have a type? I don't know. I guess smiles get me. Their personalities. I don't care what race, creed, color. I guess it's the person, the personality. Because you like who you like and you love who you love, but I'm so tired of trying to fit in a mold and fighting against myself and being on these yo-yo diets and trying to lose weight because that's what people find more attractive. I'm at this point, I just want to, people said, well, how much weight do you want to lose? I'm going to tell y'all something. I want to lose enough weight where I can bite my own toenails again. And I know that might be disgusting to some people, but I used to bite my own toenails. I'm serious. I mean, we all have our quirks and weird stuff that we do, but I just, when I do my nails, I like to, when I do pedicures, I like to be close enough to see my nails and like get all the dead skin and dig all that out. When you're overweight, your belly gets in the way from you being able to be at one with the toes. And that's what I want to do. I want to lose enough weight where I can do my own toenails, like bend all the way down. I already can touch my toes because it was this Tai Chi exercise. I think I have it on one of my first channel. And you like start at your head and work your way down to your toes. And I got to the point where I could put my hands flat on the floor, like past my toes. I can still touch my toes now, but I can't touch my palm flat on the floor. And I missed another position that I was staying as a kid, and it just felt so comfortable. And I can't do it anymore, and that's squatting. So I want to lose enough weight to be able to squat again and get up without my knees hurting. And I want to lose enough weight to bite my own toenails. That's it. And that's always. And I'm not going to diet anymore. I'm not going to try to lose it fast. I just want to go back from the beginning and forgive all the people who caused me harm and let it go one by one. And I used to journal. I'm sure I have I don't even like saying that word. I might X that out. During that dang demic, when I was with the ministry, I have so many journals that are completely filled. I'm talking about not as many as the dude in movie 7. No, but I have why does it keep getting stuck? I have I know it's over 30. I know that. I would just buy notebooks for those first 2 years after that, and I would just write. Some of it's not even legible. Some of it's tear stained. Some of it is funny. Some of it is way out there. But it's my experience. Just like that first channel. That's why it's just so much personal stuff in there. I unprivate a few of them, but it's a lot of information that I shared with YouTube on that channel that I don't even feel comfortable sharing anymore because it was so personable. So I'm sharing this with y'all because this is a journey about my belly and how I'm going to get rid of it. And I mean, I've had 8 kids. I told y'all that. I have 7 daughters and 1 son. And you can see the stretch marks, but that's not even showing you the ones at the bottom. That's just the top. It's like when your body is used to being skinny and you have a baby, it's like that's where the stretch marks come from. And I used to sometimes it would just itch. And I think that's why mine are so prevalent, is because I would just itch and it tears the skin. It tears whatever layer of fat that is under the skin. That's what causes the stretch marks. But those are my war stripes. And if you don't like it as a man, I don't know what to tell you. Don't look. Because they're never going to go away. I have bio oil and all that, but they faded, but you can see laying in that reflection a certain way. You can see them versus the picture with the green dress on, the green shirt. They look lighter close up, but far away they look darker. But it is what it is. It's my experience of having 8 children, and they're going to be here till I leave here. There's nothing I can do to change that. And I wouldn't want to lose any one of my kids, and every stripe is for love. The love of carrying my children and bringing them into this world. And I don't feel ashamed of my stretch marks. They're going to be with me till I leave. And it is 30 minutes in, y'all. I appreciate you for listening if you are listening. If not, oh well. I just talked myself through a 30-minute workout and I forgot to do these. Better luck next time. But that's what I'm trying to deal with, trauma, to release myself and the people that are tied up in that trauma. Forgive and let it go so I can heal. And that was one of the major things that I did. And a lot of people don't know. I'll tell you. I weighed 346 pounds at my heaviest. And after my incident, the medical condition, I was terrified to eat anything after that. And I started fasting and eating vegetarian and vegan stuff. And I got down to 246. And I think that's when I started this channel in 2018. I started this channel, I think I was 246, and then I got down to 219, and that was 2 years ago. And now I'm close to where I started, but I'm getting under that. I'm just trying to get under that so I can go from there and just try to change the way I've been doing things, because the way that I did things before is not working. And I'm just on a journey to 200 pounds. And with God's guidance and help, I know I'll get there. I know I will. Trust and believe. Whew. I've never did my exercises in heels before. First thing for everything, right? I guess I'll stop it at 33 minutes. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. On all 10 fingers, standing on all 10 toes. Y'all pray for me. I love you. 3, 6.